Have you ever practiced a song on violin, felt like you've nailed it, then listened to a recording of yourself and thought, what the hell is that? I remember going through this cycle of shame as a beginner until I figured out the strategy that would change my violin playing forever. And this strategy has not only worked for me, it's worked for countless other adult beginners. Take a look at my student Sylvia before the strategy. And this is her only a couple of weeks after. Definitely not perfect, but clear progress. So in this deep dive, I'm gonna reveal the exact system that 10x'd my violin playing without suffocating myself in endless hours of practice. If you want everything from this video nicely put into a practice pack that goes deeper into the subject, check out the second link in the description. It'll save you hours. So the first step we need to take to sound better on violin is defining what actually makes someone sound beautiful. And contrary to common belief, it's not necessarily skill. You don't need to play extremely hard music with intricate techniques to sound good. You just need to master the basics. And this really comes down to 3 bottlenecks that control 90% of your sound. But where most beginners go wrong is when they do 100 different exercises and etudes to work on that one skill, when often that's not necessary. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to teach you a single exercise in this video. I improve my sound not from exercises, but from conscious decisions that I took when I was playing. Because you can learn all the skills of the world from various exercises, but if you can't implement and showcase those skills in your playing, it's pointless. So let's tackle the first bottleneck, which is stability. The truth is, many tone-related problems don't actually come from your bow, and actually can come from your shoulder rest. If your violin isn't stable, your bow will never be stable. And an unstable bow equals bad tone no matter how good your technique is. To determine if your shoulder rest is at the right height, I want you to go into playing position and briefly let go of your instrument. If you feel like you're clenching way too hard on the violin with your neck, or if your violin dipped immediately after letting go, your shoulder rest is too low and you need to raise it up. When your violin stays put, your hand can relax and you're gonna get a much better tone. But tone problems can also stem from your bow, and 99% of beginners often neglect one of the most important accessories of the bow, which is this baby right here, rosin. When applied to the bow, gives more friction to the bow hair so it can grip the strings a lot better, eventually producing a cleaner sound. And the thing is that most new bows aren't rosined at all. So if you got your bow recently, you might have a completely dry bow, which is causing your tone to be garbage. Every time you practice, take off the lid, place the bow on the rosin, and apply 2 to 3 long strokes across the bow. If you've never applied rosin before, consider adding 10 to 20 strokes. But there are some easy fixes which you can do right away to make your violin sound like angels singing. Which leads us to the second bottleneck, sound production. The first way of fixing this is adjusting your contact point, where your bow places on the string. If you're hearing this harsh tone, kind of like your washing machine, you're probably too close to the bridge. Try to get your bow in between the fingerboard and the bridge for an optimal sound. And once you can stay there, I want you to ease off on the amount of pressure that you add. You're applying way too much weight from your hand, and that's causing this crunching noise. Lastly, I want you to use more bow. Most beginners that I talk to restrain themselves to only this small portion of the bow. Your bow maker didn't add this space for nothing. Use it. But I am gonna warn you, you will temporarily sound worse by adding more bow. Why, you may ask? It's because this is uncharted territory. You're not familiar with using this tip portion of the bow and this lower portion. So when you do try it out, it feels awkward and you lose control. What I tell my students is to start small and build your way up from there. Use as much bow as you can comfortably while adding 10% more, edging right past your comfort zone. Say you're only used to using this much bow, I want you to use 10% more. Like that. And slowly build your way up. If you feel like you're learning a lot from this video, I'm offering a free 20-minute trial lesson for adults who feel like they've missed their chance at learning violin before and are just confused by all the contradictory advice online. On the call, I'll quickly assess your current level and I'll give you a personalized roadmap on exactly what to do to improve your skills further. So you'll know exactly what to work on by the end of this call, whether you join my program or not. If that seems interesting to you, check out the top link in the description to schedule your spot right away. Limited spots are available. Let's now move on to the third bottleneck that students face, which is how to improve your intonation. Because let's be honest, no matter how good you can move your bow, if every note that you play sounds like it came straight from a horror movie, no one's gonna like your playing. This is the stuff that took my playing to the next level. The first piece of advice that I would give for improving intonation is fixing left hand posture. There are 4 main areas to look out for while fixing posture. Number 1 is, are you keeping a straight wrist? Beginners like to bend their wrist inwards like this because it's more comfortable and gives them more stability. However, this position gives you very unreliable intonation and it's also really bad for your elbows. So don't do it. To understand the second part of left hand posture, think of your hand like a hinge. Too tight and it locks up. Too loose and it collapses. If you lift your hand too high, where you close the space between the valley of your hand and the neck of your instrument, you lock yourself up for failure. But if you let your hand down too loose, intonation collapses. The third area to look out for is placing each finger down using the pads of your finger and not this fleshy part over here. And if you can execute this step correctly, you should also be having these tiny rooftops when you place down each finger. Notice how I didn't give you an exercise to follow. That's because intonation is a decision that you make when playing music, not just for drills. But there's actually a hack for playing in tune that everyone on the internet for some reason hates. Well, except me. And that is adding tapes to the fingerboard, especially as a beginner. Adding tapes to the fingerboard is like setting a GPS to a certain location. You know where to place down each finger. Then why is everyone hating on tapes? And why doesn't my violin have any tapes? To understand, let's go back to the GPS analogy. Say you want to go to your Uncle Joe's house in the middle of the night. I don't know why, but we'll just do it for example's sake. The GPS is going to take you to the right area, assuming you put the address in right. But because it's in the middle of the night, it's hard to determine which house is the correct house. The GPS can take you to the location, but extreme specificity requires effort from your end. Similarly, tapes give you the general vicinity of where to place down each finger, but they don't pinpoint the exact spot that the finger needs to go on to be in tune. That requires experience. So what then is the solution? To add tapes or not? As a beginner, I still think that you should add tapes because it gives you direction. But to take your intonation to the next level, I want you to use tapes and also add a tuner while practicing. Tuners give you precision to the exact scent, which is a lot better than guesstimating with tapes. However, this strategy almost ruined my intonation, and you might be making this mistake as well. So listen up. When I first started using a tuner, I would place down a finger and the tuner would say it was out of tune. And when it did that, I would just slide my finger over so that it becomes in tune. And for some reason, I just wasn't improving. With the number of failed auditions piling up, frustration accumulated. My frustration reached its peak when I was so angry that I couldn't play in tune that I was about to break my own instrument. That's when I knew something had to change. It was only until I figured out that sliding my finger was the problem. I was teaching my brain to place the finger down the wrong place and slide it over to be correct, rather than placing the finger in the correct spot the first time through. There's a huge difference between the two. When you do the latter, you're reinforcing bad habits despite your attempts of trying to fix it. But to improve your intonation, you need to focus on bringing your finger to the exact location where it needs to go. When you start focusing on the trajectory of how your finger reaches its desired location, when you do this with pure intention, you're gonna notice your intonation getting better. And within a few weeks, your playing is gonna sound unrecognizable. But only if you do it with intention. If you were able to improve your playing from this video, I would highly recommend that you book the call with me. If this is what me and you could accomplish in one video where we don't even know each other, imagine what we could do if we work together. If you're ready to make that investment for yourself, check out the top link in the description. But here's the truth. Adults don't fail at violin because they're too old. They fail because they practice without a system. If you want the exact roadmap that adults should follow in 2026 to learn violin, watch this next.